I am honoured almost to be in the same paragraph as him, because what Mark has done with Facebook is obviously remarkable. And I think the story in terms of what happened with Mark Zuckerberg and at Harvard and with me at UCL last year is obviously very similar. And he got in a bit of trouble with Harvard and I got in a bit of trouble with UCL. But at the same time, I like the way that we're both trying to fight out of it, and he's done very well so far. And if I can get anywhere near what he's done with Facebook, then I'll be very pleased.
So earlier this year, I said something that I rarely or never do, and that is that I predicted that one of my startups was going to be incredibly successful. I said that Floxx was going to be the most successful startup I have ever invested in. In the ensuing months, since I've made that prediction, I have become more and more confident that that's the case. The reasons are simple. Rich Martell presented me with one of the most unusual investment opportunities you ever get. He presented me with proof that a very large market already wanted the product. It just never happens. He had built a site, hundreds of thousands of people had flocked to it. People wanted what he was delivering. It really just remained to us to put together a site and a brand that could scale across the globe. And so if nothing else, I remain more confident than ever that he's sitting on top of the hottest property I'll ever invest in.
The most important thing I've learned and picked up from Doug is basically he's great in terms of his networking, people he knows, just getting stuff done really, his whole business acumen, because there's a lot of stuff where it's great to use Doug as an asset and just push things forward, because that's what he's mainly there for. But he's also great in terms of giving the advice on not just providing the contacts, but the day-to-day running of the business, because there's lots of things that you don't really think of that he knows from experience of running several businesses himself of what to do. And it's really things like the general day-to-day managing of a business that he's really good at advising on.
So I got involved with Floxx when it was known as FitFinder, and it's possibly one of the more unusual ways in which I will ever find an investment. Rich had gotten himself into a bit of trouble with the university he was at because he had started the site while he was still revising for finals. It had become a wild success in a mere 40 days. The university was not thrilled with the way it became a success and told him he had to take it down, or else they would withhold his degree. And of course, the interesting thing there is it's not the fact that they told him to take it down, but the story about taking it down became a story in its own right, which was in the newspapers. And so I was happily minding my own business reading the paper one Sunday morning when I read that story. And I didn't get really very much far beyond the numbers, the incredible numbers of its attraction. And so what I did is I sent out a tweet, figuring what the hell. And the tweet said, somebody introduced me to this kid, Rich Martell. And shortly thereafter we were talking, and shortly thereafter that I was investing, and shortly thereafter that, Floxx went live.
Well, when Doug got in touch via Twitter, I was firstly very surprised, because it was at the end of the week where I'd done a couple of TV interviews and radio interviews, and it was going from being a uni student, a normal uni student sitting in a library, to just having this media sort of swarm down on you, and then having a former dragon from Dragon's Den get in touch and say he's interested in investing and wants to meet up. It was just really sort of surprising. So just emailed him back. We got talking that later that day. Ended up having a lunch in London, and it went from there really.
So I've worked with lots of entrepreneurs in my life. I particularly worked with a lot of young entrepreneurs. I like young entrepreneurs for a lot of reasons. Rich pretty much embodies all those reasons. Lots of enthusiasm, a willingness to drink Diet Coke and stay up all night to get the job done. Kind of makes him a little scattered the next day, but that's fine. An intensity and a belief in what he's doing that makes it, his passion leaks into me. It makes me more excited. The fact is, it makes me feel young, and if anything, you need to feel young when you're working on Floxx.
So the feedback we've got is really outstanding. We get feedback all the time, even when we're not asking for it, and it's great to see not just what is good about the site, but what people are saying they think we should do in the future, what they don't like, because it's the site, and to be honest, how we've got to operate is to learn what our users want and to make this community about what they want. So what we're really being told at the moment is they want to be able to use the service anywhere. So when they're in a cafe, we're in a club, in a bar, in a restaurant, and that's why we need to go mobile. We need to take this service into apps, onto mobile sites, and allow people to basically use it when they're waiting for the bus. And that's really the main piece of feedback we're getting, and that's what we're working towards at the moment.